think he will cover the session very well. Hope everybody will enjoy it. Please, sir.
Okay. So thank you, Firoz. Okay. So I'll just share my screen. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the good evening, everybody. So actually, we are in National Moth Week. So the uh, and it is an opportunity for us to create awareness regarding moths. So that is basically the National Moth Week is all about. Okay, and also it is an opportunity to document our moth diversity, so that it will be helping us in the long run. Okay, to know about how the dynamics of moths, how the distribution of moths, all that thing. So the in that context, actually this particular talk is organized. So the one or two things I need to the tell, I mean, the at the beginning, because I am not from the academic background. So the talk is basically aiming for the beginners in the moth studies. So I'll be just covering the what are the resources which are openly available. Okay. So and the second thing, I'll be mainly focusing on the taxonomic studies. Okay, so the usually in the moths and lepidoptera, lot of other studies are happening in the now. Okay, so the lot of DNA studies, molecular studies are happening. Okay, so this talk is basically concentrating on the what are the taxonomic the resources available to the identify a particular moth in a particular area. So when we are the watching modes, so we are getting many modes in under our the light in the garage or in the outside at our home. So but the first task is that the most of them are very difficult to identify. Some of the common modes we may be getting easily identified from some of the moth forums. Okay, so if you are getting some clue where we can search for the moth identification. Okay, so that is what I am trying to talk about. So the regarding the National Moth Week, I'll just tell one or two words. Actually, this is the 10th year of National Moth Week celebration. So, I mean, every year we will be dedicating 1 week in the month of July to the document moths and to spread awareness regarding the moths. Okay, so the moth is the one of the most diverse group of insects. Okay, so the most of them are active at night. So our the knowledge on the moths are limited. So we need to have more records, we need to have more studies, we need to have the more the data on that one, on the moths, so that we'll be knowing the moths better. So in National Moth Week in India in the year 2021, so I mean, if you are seeing the statistics presently, so India has got the maximum number of event registrations in during 2021. So that is a great achievement. That shows that more and more people are coming in to watch moths. Okay, and the message is slowly spreading across. So that is a good news. And I mean, this year we are having many the observers reporting their the data in various citizen science forums. Yeah. Also, I mean, the number of observers are very high. So this year the numbers are slightly slow because the one or two reasons. So one is the heavy rains are in various part of our country. So the prolonged heavy rains, and also the full moon is actually the overlapping this week. So the during the full moon days, the moths coming to the light will be less. So, I mean, apart from that, the response to this National Moth Week is the overwhelming this year. Okay, so today I'll be just talking on or just introducing some of the resources where you can look for the identification of moths. Okay, so I'll be just telling some introduction and some history of the moth studies. Okay, so what are the major works in India during the British era? So I'll be mostly focusing on in Indian scenario. Okay, and what are the different works happening in the modern India? Okay, and then and the changes in the moth watching during the internet age and in the last in the citizen science age. Okay, so these are my contents. Okay, so as I mentioned, the moths are one of the most diverse group. Okay, so of insects. So the in the food chain, it is coming just after the plants. So the diversity of moths are huge. So we are the estimating around 1,60,000 species across the globe. So that's a huge number. And in India, we have only, in comparing with the butterflies, we are having only 1,200 butterflies in India, but we are expecting at least 10 times more the moths in India. Okay, so but out of that, we have only recorded only some 5,000 to 6,000 moths so far. So there are many moths still not known to science or not known to human beings. So the, that is a contest in which we are trying to spread awareness on moths. Okay. So I mean, when we are talking about moths, it's one of the important pollinator in the nature. So the most of our the plants are pollinated by the either bees, butterflies, and the when you are seeing the numbers, the number of moths are huge. So they are one of the important pollinator, especially the flowers which are blooming at night. So that are pollinated mainly by moths. So I mean the and that are the economically important also. So some of the cultivations are mainly depending on the moths to the pollinate them. Okay. So I mean if you are looking at the economical the angle, so the moths are the responsible for in the billions of crores every year. Okay. So that's the importance of moths. Okay. Now, when you are studying the moths, okay, so basically it's a branch of entomology, so where we'll be studying the insects. Okay, so and the I mean, generally it will be known as the leptotriology, okay, because we are either studying moths or butterflies. Okay, so that is a super family, so we'll be trying to learn together, but the moths having totally different characteristics. They are appearing at night, so sometimes they are not easy to find out. So usually the study on moths is regularly sluggish because we are having very less data. So when the human beings are active, so they are not active. So and because of huge diversity, you cannot easily crack them the taxonomy or their distribution and all. So the study of moths is still a concern. Okay, so as I mentioned, in India, we may be just covered or 50-60% of the moths or just described. So there can be more species yet to be described. Okay, so and the the when I'm just talking about the history, so the man was always the fascinated about the nature. Okay, so I mean in the earlier days itself we were the having the searching for the nature, the wonders in nature. Okay, and there are a lot of people trying to observe the birds, the insects, butterflies and all. Okay, but and the systematic study of the on these insects actually came after the 17th century. Okay, so the where we have started the science are started looking into how these insects are growing, how they are grown into adults, and how we'll be recording them, all that thing. So actually we will I mean especially in the Europe. So actually the Europe comparatively they were richer that time, so due to various reasons. Okay, so the after the post Renaissance period, so there were a lot of the people got interested into insects, especially into butterflies, and many of them are coming into moths also. Okay, actually, when the Linnaeus wrote his 10th edition of the Systema Nature, that's one of the landmark works. So when it is written in 1758, he was mentioning a lot of the facts about the butterflies and moths. Okay, that means so that time itself there were a lot of knowledge on moths and butterfly for the human being. Okay, and after the next the 100 or 150 years, okay, so that is the era where I mean lot of people were trying to learn about this one, the moths and butterflies. Okay, and there were a lot of new description of species. You can see that still lot of species description. You can see the year is gone up to the 17th century or 18th century. Okay, so that time the studies were mainly identifying the species or the distinguishing the species and recording them. Okay, so there were a lot of explorers. Okay, so as I mentioned, the most of the people were from the Europe. Okay, so they were the economically in a better the position that time. Okay, so and they were trying to search the about the nature in across the globe, so various places. So actually these pictures, actually this is the illustration of two the ships, okay, which they named it as geography and naturalist. So it was sent in the 18th century from France to explore the islands of Australia and nearby that. So they actually gone back with a lot of samples collected. So many boxes of samples they had taken into the France. Okay, so that was the time they were the going and exploring the places, and they were collecting the specimen, and then they will be keeping in museums, and they will be segregating it, then they will be the giving some names for that. So that was the age. I mean there were a lot of collections were doing, I mean exploration collections and museum specimens were the studies during that time. Okay, so when they are getting some specimen, they'll be keeping it for reference. Okay, but when somebody, I mean, you need to communicate with somebody. Okay, so you have to tell that what is it. Okay, so you have to give some name for it. Okay, and sometimes the specimen may not be lasting long if you are not properly preserving it. Okay, so sometimes they'll be using, I mean, started using illustrations. So they may be started using the ink to draw it. Okay, either hand painted or lithographed or printed. So that were the I mean type of studies in the earlier days. So they were collecting the specimen. Sometimes they'll keep this specimen as such, the pinned specimen, or they'll be drawing the sketches and then keeping it. Okay, so that was the time where the resources were limited, the technologies were limited. So still the urge for knowledge was there. So I mean to identify the species, to I mean go for more collection, more and more collection were there. So then slowly when they have more collections, more museum specimen, all that thing. So then they, I mean, kept it as a record. So then books started coming up. So then there were more people working in the area. So they were keeping keep communicating. So some societies are formed. Okay, then there some journals are started coming out in this area. Okay, so actually it is after 18th century. Okay, so the many the people in this working in this area of the butterflies and moths. Okay, so where they are started seriously working on the taxonomy. Okay, so what are the names? Suppose the two people are collected the specimen from the same region. Okay, if they are given two different names. Okay, so they will have started discussing and the finally settling down to some the one single name, all that things. So that are the things happening in the after 18th century. Okay, so that is the historical thing. So when you are coming into the moth studies in India, Okay, so the time which we are telling, the 18th century and the early 19th century and all. Okay, so India was under the British rule. Okay, so India was not independent. So most of this actually the resources were not easily available to the Indians. Okay, so India was ruling by the British people. Okay, so but the another interesting thing is that, okay, so the Indian, the uh, I mean, especially the South Asian. Okay, so especially when we are talking about moths. Okay, so the most of the moths are the overlapping in this area. Okay, so some moths which we are finding in Japan, so are also found in India. So some of the, I mean, it is not like butterflies. Butterflies are, I mean, slightly more the localized. Okay, so they may not be running the very far away. Okay, but unlike butterflies, moths are more the more widely spread. Okay, so the most of the moths in the actually in the South Asian region is, I mean, the many of the moths are overlapping. So some moths we are finding in India may be found in the Malaysia or in Taiwan or Japan. So that way, I mean, it is a, I mean, the good thing for the mold studies, because some specimen which we are seeing at your home can be in the found in some literature in the Japan or in Taiwan or in Philippines. So that kind of advantage is there. So it is not the too localized like our butterflies. Okay. So then I'll just talk about some of the major works during the British era. So actually, that was the time, and they were basically depending on the specimens. Okay, so the museum specimen. So the famous the scientists during that the period were actually the museum curators. Okay, so I mean, they were actually studying the collections. Okay, they were segregating the collections. They were making the notes, or they were making the sketches of that the particular specimens and all. Okay, so one of the most famous scientists was the Mr. Frederick Moore. Okay, so the Moore was the museum curator in the English time. So he has done, I mean, lot of work on the samples which are collected by various the people across the, I mean, the various areas. Okay, so I mean, out of his works. Okay, so actually his time is actually 1830 to 1907. Okay, so I mean, that is the later the, I mean, the later part of this, I mean, just before 1900s. Okay, so he has done a lot of landmark work. So first he has started working on the Lepidoptera of Ceylon. Okay, so actually the specimen collected from the Sri Lanka that time. Okay, so he has I mean, the actually there are few books on that one. Okay, the Lepidoptera of Ceylon. So the volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. Okay, so it covers mainly butterflies and a lot of moths also. Okay, so I mean, you know, I mean, in India, especially South India and Sri Lanka, is sharing a lot of the geography and the biodiversity. So most of the species which we are finding here can be found in Sri Lanka also. So that way, this will be a good reference for, I mean, the moth studies today also. Okay, the Lepidoptera of the Ceylon, and his major work is the Lepidoptera indica. So actually he has worked around 10 years. Okay, so actually the 1890 he has started working, and that work continued even after the Moore's time. So the Sinha and all this, and they continued with that work. Okay, actually 10 books on the and 10 volumes of Lepidoptera indica came. So that was actually, I mean, I mean, still a reliable resource on the the Lepidoptera diversity in the region. So the Lepidoptera indica, so it's a good book. You can see that some of the color plates are also there. Okay, so where he was the handwritten the some of the key factors, and he was mentioning what is this the peculiarity of this one. Even you can see that actually this is a picture from that book. So even that, I mean, the color also still, I mean, it is reproducible. Okay, so actually, this is the one quote on Moore. Okay, so Moore entered the doors of entomology by his way of artistic abilities. Okay, actually, he was a good in illustrating the specimen. Also, he was drawing most of the characteristics of this particular the species, or he was very good in drawing the things. And also, he has got the help from a few other the illustrators that time. Okay, so that was the one of the major works so by Moore. So the Lepidoptera indica and the Lepidoptera of Ceylon. So few books so that you can find. The another the major the I mean the name. So another big name in there is the Hampson. Okay, so Hampson's the works, you can see that this big volume of works. Okay, so actually he was again he was a curator, and his work is not only limited to Lepidoptera. He was actually in the instrumental in the covering the entire the biodiversity in the area. So during the British period, the fauna of British India, including Ceylon and Burma. Okay, so actually that if you are seeing the map of the British India, so that covers all these areas. Okay, so not only the present India, so it was covering the nearby areas also, the Ceylon and Burma also. Okay, so actually there are 5 volumes. So it covers the mammals to the butterflies to moths. So it's a good resource. Okay, so Hampson's work. So you can find the PDF of all these materials online. Okay, so I mean, I am showing the materials which are easily available for you. So those who are studying this seriously, you will be having some works, I mean, the mentions here. Okay, so and on the moths, actually, this Mr. Sinho, actually, he was the started continuing his work after the Moore. Okay, it was another the curator in the museum, so he was continuing with that one. So this is the actually the first the dedicated work on moths, the moths of India. Actually it has come in the 1887-89. Okay, so the catalog of moths. Okay, so basically this Spingidae and Bombycidae that the was covering, and then a few more works actually they was continuing with that one. Okay, then this, I mean, again, there are few works by the Sinho. Okay, so actually, the list of Lepidoptera in the Khasi Hills. Okay, so and I mean, there are some the papers by him. Okay, so the Lepidoptera of Khasi Hills and the on New Indian Lepidoptera, chiefly Heterocera. So these are the some papers by him. You can still find some of the PDFs online or in archives.com, so the .org, so you can go and search for his works. Okay, so these are the some of the major works in during the British era, and this is another big person. Okay, so I mean, those who are the into the butterflies and all, they can easily find, I mean, knows his name, because he was in the very much interested in studying the early stages. Okay, that is the caterpillar and pupa stages, how he was rearing a lot of butterflies and moths. Okay, so the TR bell, I mean, even some of the life cycle still we cannot the crack. So but that TR bell has already done the 100 or I mean the 100 or 120 years back. So that is the kind of work he has done in the entire area. So he has I mean, along with the Scott, he has done one of the major work, the fauna of British India, including Ceylon and Burma. So the volume 5 actually that's a contribution. So there the lot of the reference on the early stages of butterflies and moths are there. So that's one of the major work in this. Okay, so that are the major works during the British period. Okay, so once actually this up to 1937 and all. Okay, so once the India became independent. Okay, so the our studies didn't pick up quickly because we have a lot of limitations because the our resources were limited. Okay, so our the money available for the scientific studies or research were the limited. Okay, so the number of trained people were less. Okay, so we took some more time to develop our own the skills and our own knowledge. Okay, so after in independent India, so we took some time to the come into the butterflies, the birds, or the and into the moths. Okay, so but in that time, so we have basically studying the biology. Okay, so we were trying to study the. I mean, if you are seeing the papers during that time, so the people were trying to make the checklist of a certain area or certain region. Okay, and some of the new descriptions, so which are not there in the British works. Okay, so slowly we were picking up. Okay, then the our schoolings or the college, the education system was slowly picked up. Okay, then we were started studying the about the insects or the biodiversity in general. Okay, slowly we started picking up. Okay, so it took some years to reach into the international level. You know, there are break after the independence. Okay, so now we are slowly picking up. So but now you can see that our after the the now we are after 70 years of independence. So now a lot of our studies are the well class, and we are coming up with a lot of new studies, lot of new the papers. The studies are not some of the papers I just mentioned here. Okay, so a lot of studies are doing on the taxonomy side. Okay, so I am just concentrating on the taxonomy side. Okay, so the Moth taxonomy, actually it is slightly complex. Okay, so the complex because uh, the number of species or the diversity is huge. Okay, so there are in butterflies we have only handful of families. Okay, but when you are coming into moths, we have around the 130 families of moths. Okay, so and that moths families are divided into subfamilies, then that subfamilies into tribes, subtribes, the different genus, and then into different species. Okay, so the it is quite complex, and we don't have that many number of the specimen, that many number of records to the say that this is not belonging to this particular group and this belongs to the other group. So we have only handful of records in that time. So the taxonomy study were a challenging thing the that time when you are having limited data. So but now presently we are moving forward with the lot of the studies and the molecular side. So we are conducting a lot of more the DNA studies. So many of our youngsters, many of the academic institutions are the researchers are going on in that direction. So we are having better knowledge. We are having DNA sequencing, barcoding, and all. So we are trying to put the things in the better order now. Okay, so and during this time, so we have done some good advancement in the area of the butterflies. Okay, so after bird watching, so many of the people or many of the public also were interested in watching the butterflies. They are comparatively easier. They are beautiful. They'll be active during the daytime. So many people were started the watching butterflies. Okay, so but still most were area still it was a gray area, so many people were not into that one. So it took more time to come to the some of the books in this area. So and some of the major books on moths in the in which are came recently. Okay, so the one of the major work is the marvelous moths of Nepal. Actually, the Nepal is overlapping the Himalayan areas, so the moths of Nepal is very helpful for the moth studies in the Himalayan region, especially. Okay, and some the another book by the Haruta, the Moths of Nepal Part 2. So the there are a lot of studies conducted in moth. Okay, so and there were some restrictions for the studies collection of species in India. During that time, so that's why they are. The some of the foreigners they are directly gone to these some of the neighboring areas. Okay, so but these are the books which are helpful. Okay, then and the actually the in 2015 the book by the Kriti and Singh, so that is on the Arctic moths of India. Okay, and another book by the same team, the Geometry Moths of India. So these are the two good books. So you can, if you are interested into these families, you can try for this book. So these books are the available for buying online. Okay, and some of the other regional works were also there. Okay, some of the forest the departments were coming out with some field guides in that area. So with the help of some of the researchers working on that area. Okay, and the one major work in the butterflies and moths of Pakke Tiger Reserve. Okay, so in that the actually the our Sanjay Sodhi and the Krishna Mekonde, they come up with a book for that particular tiger reserve in 2018. So that's a beautiful book with a lot of beautiful pictures. Okay, so it's a good reference. Okay, and one of the major book came in on Indian moths is by the Dr. Subbalashmi. Okay, so that is the it's available online for purchase. So the Birdwing Field Guide to Indian Moths. Okay, so it covers most of the species in the northern in part of India, and some of the southern Indian moth species also it is covered. Okay, and the some 2018 another book is the Common Moths of the Wildlife Institute of the WII, the Dehradun. That's why the Pridhat and Joshi. So it came in 2008. So these are the major books. Available in India. So by the Indian authors. Okay. So slowly we are getting more and more the resources on modes for reference. Okay. So these are the some of the books you can try if you are interested. You can try some of these books. Okay. So, as I mentioned, the present day studies are not limited only on taxonomy. A lot of the studies are doing on the behavior of the Lepidoptera, the ecology, the genetics. Okay. So, a lot of the studies on the DNA, barcodes, DNA, the sequencing and all to identify the species and the where to place this the particular specimen and all. Okay, so that are the academic part. So actually I am touching on, I am not from that the academic area, so I am basically just an amateur watcher. So I am more into the taxonomy. So we'll be talking something more on the taxonomy. So apart from our regular the academic the papers, books and all. Okay, so the when the internet came. Okay, so actually the 1995 actually the internet came in India, but up to 2002 3 or 4, so the speed and all was very it's a big question. Okay, so as I remember 2003 and all, the Yahoo inbox size was only 2 MB. Okay, if you are exceeding 2 MB, you have to delete your old mails and all, then only you'll be getting the space for the new mails to come. Okay, so that was the age. Okay, so but we have started the sharing the pictures on the Flickr. Okay, so Flickr was I mean, the Flickr was by the Yahoo. So that was the time the people were slowly started the uploading the pictures in Flickr. So the 2006, 7 and all we are started using the Flickr. So as I remember, I met the Vijay Barve and all on Flickr in around some 2006 or 7. Okay, so that time we have identified some of the people working in India in this particular area. Some of them are posting the butterflies or moths. Okay, so I mean, and then the people like Vijay Barve, they came and told that we have to use the common tag. Then only the all the moths from this particular region will be easily searchable. So they started the some Flickr tabs tags on Indian moths and all. Okay, then in 2007 the Yahoo groups, the mail groups. Okay, so you can if you want to identify some moth picture or something, so you can share it through the Yahoo group. So a lot of people of similar interests were there, so somebody will maybe identifying that one. Sometimes moth, sometimes it may not get identified. Okay, so that was in 2007. Okay, so then the Facebook book started in, I mean, the groups were active in on butterflies and all from 2009, 10 and all. Okay, so then the Indian moths group started on Facebook in 2011. Okay, so still it is active. So a lot of the posts or previous posts are also there. Okay, then the people were more into quick the communication like the WhatsApp. So I mean, the presently we have some the Indian moths WhatsApp group. So last day, then the it has crossed 250 members. Then another group was started. So we can see many more people are coming into the mothing. So it's a good trend. So the actually the internet and the availability of the cheaper the digital cameras has made the it more the public. So or more public participation is ensured through in the internet age. So that is how we are slowly develop the interest in the modes, and the like-minded people came together and they were discussing the thing and they were sharing the knowledge and all. Okay, but the main issue with the social media is they are very poor in archiving. Okay, so I mean, actually, you can easily connect. You can ask you can send some the picture in WhatsApp and group, and somebody will be identifying it. Okay, so but it is very poor for archiving. So WhatsApp, it may last for only few days. Okay, so maximum it may go for a few days. Okay, and the groups like the Facebook and all, you will be getting identified, but there is no proper the recording of the species, or no proper recording of the document is happening. Okay, so the social media is actually it is good for the creating some awareness or creating some interest. Okay, but beyond that, it is not helping the science or the helping the study. So I mean, it is very short lived. Okay, so even though it is interesting, but it is very short lived. So the we cannot depend on this social media for the studying of moth. Okay, so once in the when you're entering into the internet era, so some of the very good resources now available for the public. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, so the modes in the especially in the Southeast area and the South Asian area, so most of them are overlapping. So some of the good resources available for our studies is, one is the Moths of Borneo's website. Actually, the Borneo is the island in the, I mean, in the Southeast Asia. So there, I mean, they have done some extensive survey and they have, I mean, huge volumes of books, I mean, and plates available. So you can, I mean, the just have a look. If those who are not using it, you can have a, you can just search for this one. So if you want, you can note down the 2 3 websites. I'll just mention it. Okay, so Moths of Borneo is a very good resource. Okay, so they are systematically placed different groups with the lot of plates. Okay, so there lot of beautiful pictures. Okay, and also you can browse the family wise or the genus wise. So it's a very good resource for the, I mean, especially for Indian study, I mean, moths. Okay, and most of the Indian moths will be the available there also. So it's a good resource for Indian moths. Okay, so another website is the Moths of Taiwan. Okay, so you can actually, it's a blog actually, the mottaiwan.blogspot.com. Okay, so actually there the description is less. Okay, some of the descriptions are not in the English also. Okay, but there are I mean the all the species names, family names, all are in English. Okay, so you can easily search and find out some certain species. You can cross check whether it is the same species or same family. So in most of Taiwan is also a good resource for you to check the identity of a certain moth. Okay, and another one is the Moths of Japan. Okay, actually it is Digital Moths of Japan. That is the website name. So and the sometimes if you are just searching Moths of Japan, you may not be getting. Actually, it is jpmoth.org is the link for that one. So there also some of the descriptions are not in English, but still you can see that the lot of pictures and the all the species and family names are in English. So I mean you'll be, I mean those who are interested, they can search and find out the certain species or subspecies. Okay, or you can look for identity, especially those who are the seriously studying the moths, they can the depend on this particular resource. Okay, and there are some more papers and books are available in the ResearchGate. ResearchGate is actually a platform for sharing the papers and the publications. Okay, so you can share and connect. So there you can see that the moths of Thailand. So some five volumes are there. You can the search for that one. So all are, I mean the all the full text are available there. Okay, so you can you need to have just an account, then you can download the PDF of that the volume. So it's a good resource for Indian moths. You can just the check for identification. Okay. And another one is actually the Finnish, the University Research Network. Some website is there where you can check sometimes the taxonomical change and all happening. So if you, I mean, some names are changing, so some updation is happening. So that back data and all available in the Finnish, the University Research Network, that website that is actually mentioned in below. Okay, so these are the some of the major the websites available. So you can, I mean, have a look. So I mean, if you are going through the website, you'll be getting some idea about which are the species, which are the groups. And okay, so these are the, I mean, these are the some works. Okay, some groups are the uploading some website and they are doing it. Okay, so they are just the keeping it for the public viewing. Okay, so but the, I mean, these studies you can see that the Borneo or the Thailand or the Taiwan, so comparatively all are the smaller place compared to India, that are all are a smaller region. Okay, but when it is coming to India, it's a, I mean it's a we have a larger area. Okay, so it's a large diversity, so only a handful of people cannot the study and record all these modes. Okay, so you need to go for, I mean, you need to have more the eyes and more records to, I mean, more people to observe all these things. So that is the place the we'll be going for the citizen science. Okay, so I mean, the some of you are already aware about the citizen science. Some of you are already the on the various citizen science platforms. Okay, so where we'll be incorporating lot of the layman or the citizen into certain the projects, so that the people will be in the with their interest, they'll be coming and reporting certain the biodiversity in that area. So it will be more helpful than the a handful of people studying. So suppose only a particular lab and only 4 or 5 people are studying. So instead of that, a large number of people are reporting the sightings or the certain specimens. So that will be more helpful. So you can get the results easier. You'll be having more data to analyze. Okay, so that is the main advantage of citizen science. Okay, and also you can meet a lot of similar minded people. You can meet a lot of experts. You can they discuss with them. You can and they have the updation. You can have the lot of interaction. So the citizen science is the new way of studying the biodiversity. Especially it is quite the effective in the area of biodiversity studies. Okay, so I'll just the uh, touch some three of the main uh, the citizen science initiative in the area of moths in India. Okay, so actually these three are the partners of the this year's National Moth Week celebration. One is the Moths of India website. Actually, this the initiative by the biodiversity atlas. Actually, you'd have seen the Butterflies of India websites. Okay, so it is run by the NCBS. So it's another the website by them. So Moths of India. Okay, so here actually the people can they submit your report. So anybody can submit your the observation. Okay, with the date and place details. Okay, so they'll there is a the peer reviewing process. So they'll be reviewing your observation and they'll be the confirming the identity and they'll be putting it their website. Okay, so the presently there are around 1,730 pages. Okay, and around the 15,500 images. So I think I have taken the number in the morning. Okay, so around 15,000 moth images are there. So it's a very good database now. So you have a lot of records there. Okay, and all that records are curated. Okay, so the experts are verified and approved. So it's a good resource for you to verify your record. Okay, and the another advantage of this the citizen science forums or okay, so you can easily get the data visualization. So you can get the distribution. You can see that this is for a particular the hawk moth, the Teretra alecto. Okay, so how it is distributed across India. Okay, so based on their records, you can see that where all it is recorded. Okay, and which are the the pictures of that one, and also the state-wise distribution. So in which month, which place it has seen. So it's a good records and a lot of additional information can be added. So it is slowly developing the larval host plant details, similar species, all that. The pages are slowly coming up. Okay, so this is the Moths of India. So you can also the upload your images there. There is in the submit tab. So you can on the front page there is a submit tab. You can the just register and submit your observation. So they will verify it and they'll upload it. So the is because since it is a diverse area, so the process is slightly slow. They are slowly developing it. So these are the some more additional the screenshot from that Moths of India website. So there you can easily check some the suppose I want to check a certain genus. I just checked some cyana the genus here. So you can easily compare these different species. Okay. And you can say that okay, mine is this particular one. So you can easily identify by using the Moths of India website. Okay, and also there are the early stage the tab is there. Okay, so where you can see the egg caterpillar and the pupa. Okay, so which most of the other websites are not having. So it's a good provision, but it is slowly coming up. You can see that now presently we have around 15,000 pictures. So it's a quite good number now. Okay. So that's a first the citizen science forum. The another citizen science forum is the India Biodiversity Portal. Okay, so it's an Indian initiative. Okay, so India Biodiversity Portal actually it started in 2012. Okay, so and the lot of the records from India are going on the Indian Biodiversity Portal. Okay, and during this National Moth Week also a few of the groups are the mainly using this in the Indian biodiversity portal. So there you can upload the your pictures. Okay, so the you can the if you don't know the identity, you can add without the identity. Then the some of the your volunteers or some of your the peer group they'll be coming and they'll be verifying it. Some of you may be the proposing the identity, and if the it is I mean if more people are approved, so then it will be taking it as accepted ID. So I mean it will be considered as that particular ID. So that is the process. So there are actually no owners or no admins. So basically the it's a peer the recognition. So they'll be identifying it. The peer group or volunteers will be coming and recognizing it. So it's a good exercise. You can the search over the various groups. So if you are knowing the identity, you can also the confirm that this is a particular the species. Okay, and as I mentioned, the data visualization is very good in all the citizen science forums. Okay, you can see how the species is distributed. Okay, and what are the similar species where taxonomically where it stands. Okay, what are the I mean different the pictures available of this particular species. Okay, and the which are the resources available, which are the published papers or books on this particular one. So all that are coming on there. So it's a I mean good resource for not only for I mean the amateurs, it is a good resource for all the researchers. They can I mean come and check and verify whether it's a species actually here or I mean it can be something else, or I mean whether it is actually this species or somebody is the misidentified it. Okay, so that's a second one. Okay, and the with the last the citizen science the initiative is the iNaturalist. Okay, so the iNaturalist is I mean it's I mean more global one. Okay, so the actually the Moths of India and India Biodiversity Portal are mainly I mean, confined to the Indian the region, and the people are most of the people are experts are from Indian region. Okay, but iNaturalist is giving more freedom. I mean because you can connect with the more people. I mean across the globe, and you can see the mainly you can interact with the more experts. You can ask for their opinion and all. Okay, actually it is in the established slightly earlier in 2008. Okay, and presently it is having around the 1.8 million registered users. So this is the number as per the 2020 December. Okay, so it's a huge network. Okay, and the one of the big advantages is that the iNaturalist is also having a mobile app. Okay, so some of you may be using it. Okay, so the I mean, it can be used in Android or the Apple, so that you can install it and you can click the pictures with your phone itself, and you can upload from there itself. Okay, so and the here when you are uploading it, so I mean that data will be verified by some of your the peer members. They'll be confirming in the ID. Okay, so once it is confirmed, then it will be considered as a research grade data. Okay, so that the scientist I mean science will be more interested. So and the as I mentioned, the it is good for the data visualization. Okay, actually this is a particular moth. Okay, so the dot under wing moth, the Eudosima materna. Okay, so you can see that this moth is in the widespread. You can see that this particular moth is recorded not only from India, not only from the Southeast Asia, also from the African continent. So this is a peculiarity of moths. So it is one way it is good. You can use the resources from other places also. So it is widely spread species. Okay. So and this is the actually the I mean the how the yearly, how the distribution, which month you can see them more. Okay, so especially after the monsoon months, okay, when the vegetation is more, you can see them more. Okay, so that's that the conclusions you can make, and you can see that who all are the experts which are confirming this particular species. Okay, so if you are having any doubts, you can they contact the experts. Okay, so you can tag them, and you can the message them, so you can ask them. So most of the time the experts are they responding positively. Okay, so it's a very good place for to have good connect with the academic people. Okay, and it's a good place for doing a lot of projects. Okay, project means I can suppose I want to the study the biodiversity of a particular area. Okay, a small area in my town or in my village. Okay, so you can create a project there. Okay, so whenever people from that area is reporting some document, you can collect it in that group. Okay, so actually these are the data of the National Moth Week, the 2021, this year's National Moth Week India. Actually we have project. Okay, so there the all the moth records which is the coming in the during the period July 17 to 25. Okay, so that period will be going here. Okay, so you can see that this I think the I taken the screenshot in the morning. So around 6,000, I think when I'm checking the last time, around 6,500 observations came this year. Okay, and around 85 species. Okay, so 150 identifiers and 450. Evening when I'm checking, I think 460 people observers uploaded their document, and you can see that the on the map. Okay, from which are the places they are done. So you can see that the Western Ghat is a major area. Okay, also some part in Eastern Ghat. Okay, the Himalayas. Okay, so these are the major areas in from where the reports are more. Okay, so obviously these are the more biodiverse area. Also more people are active in this area. Okay, so it's a, and also you can see that which are the most common species reported. So the data, the analysis is quite easier with the iNaturalist. Okay, and this is a small project. Actually the is a sub part of the National Moth Week India. So the Kerala, the group has they made another project. So actually it's a subset of the National Moth Week India. So from Kerala alone around 1,275 records came. Okay, so this data in the morning. Hopefully, it is get improved by evening. 60 species, 50 identifiers, and 74 observers. Okay, so it's a good number. So we can see that the participation, the diversity, and all. Okay. So another advantage of this the iNaturalist is actually it is having a AI-powered identification. Okay, so especially the when you're trying to upload a picture from your phone or your desktop. Okay, so I just tried a picture of a bird here. Okay, so when I am just clicking and searching for it. Okay, so it will be suggesting some identification based on the artificial intelligence. Okay, so if it is a very popular species, you will be getting the identification most of the time. Here you can see that there are, it's a munia, so they are suggesting some 3-4 ones. Okay, so you can just compare it. You can view the species. You can, if it is the that you can suggest, put that now. Okay, if it is wrong, you are selected it is wrongly, some of the other peer members or volunteers will be saying that it is not this, it is some other species. Okay, so that way it is quite easy to do. Okay, another the thing is that actually this is giving a big database. Okay, you can see that a lot of moths are coming here. Okay, if you want to learn more about moths, okay, you can keep on browsing there. Okay, and you can try to identify them. You can help the identify the others on some of the familiar moths to you. Okay, so slowly you can improve your knowledge by simply browsing through this one. Okay, simply helping the others to identify the moths. So and that way actually the a lot of people are improved their skills by using the citizen science forums. Okay, so the IPP or the iNaturalist. Okay, so the people like the Krishnan and all very active there. So they are studying the taxonomy basically by seeing many specimens. So every day, if you are going through this, you can see many specimens. So slowly you'll be getting some of them familiar. Okay, some if it is some familiar, I can quickly say that this is that one. It is belong to this particular group. This is the species. So I mean, slowly you'll be getting a lot of expertise. So this is giving a lot of freedom to you can the trial and error. You can keep on browsing and I mean actually it's a complex group. You have a lot of the genus, lot of groups, lot of taxonomy, lot of sub tribes, all that thing. Okay. But if you are continuously using it, if you are continuously reiterating some of the names or some of the I mean the moths will be striking to you. They'll be keep on I mean, if you are keep on seeing it, it will be recorded in your mind. So that is the best way to study about moths. Okay, so presently if anybody can try, keep on trying it. Okay, so I mean now most of the moths, I mean we are also trying to add some common names also. Okay, so presently the common names are not available for all the moths. Okay, but the some common names are there, so it is easier for the I mean the people, the enthusiasts to easily connect it. Okay, so but most of the common modes having some common names. Okay, so that is a one easier way for I mean anybody to study more on modes. Okay, so the I think with this I'll be stopping it. Okay, so the if you I mean my mail ID is there, haneeshkm@gmail.com. So or you can connect it to any of the social media platform also. Okay, so and thank you for the patient hearing. So hope the uh, you could get something out of it. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was very nice presentation. You covered every aspect of moth studies in India, starting from history of moth studies, British era, then internet, social media. All these aspects you have covered very nicely. I think we can go for a question answer session now.
Yeah. So any questions in the chat box or any?
You can unmute and ask also.
Yeah. You can unmute and ask. So somebody was asking question. Somebody was raising hand. Yeah, Priya.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Priya here. Sir,
Yeah.
among the books that you mentioned, is there any of do any of them have including even life cycles, or it's mainly the identification of the adults?
No, mostly the identification of adults. Okay, some I mean the sample the life cycles are there. So in a family, one or two the life cycles are there. So not the extensively. Okay, so so you want to I mean identify caterpillar or you want to study about the life cycle. So what is your the intention?
Even if caterpillars are there, also any of the books carry that also, other than the adult
And
pictures?
actually, the extensive life cycles are very limited. Okay, because all these books are covering some life cycles. Okay, but only the I mean some only a limited number from a particular family or group. Okay, so it is not the covered completely because the in India the life cycle studies are still in the undergoing. So and you can see some of them are in the you can if you are having some the caterpillar picture or you want to identify and all. Okay, so you can depend on any on the is the or citizens and platform or the now the most of the WhatsApp groups or the Facebook group. You may get at least the genus level ID presently you can get. Okay, so a lot of people are there to help. Okay. If you are on any of these platforms, the Facebook or the WhatsApp, then you can get them.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. So, any other questions? So, actually, I was
Hello, sir.
trying. Yeah.
Um,
You.
I am H. Tandon, sir, from Chhattisgarh.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
Sir. Any specific special suggestion for study of life cycle?
No, this study of life cycle is okay. So you can actually the observe some of the, I mean, you can try to raise some of the caterpillars. Okay, so you can the document there the all the stages, the caterpillar pupa stages. Okay, so and then you can upload it in any of the citizen science platforms, so it will be identified and it will be helpful for others also. Okay, if you are
Yeah.
the completing some life cycle, okay, so which many of them may not be able to know, so if you are doing it, it will be helpful for others also. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so
Okay.
yeah,
Some of the students from Chhattisgarh are here in this webinar.
yeah,
Actually, they want to observe the moth,
yeah.
and this webinar will helpful for us.
Yeah. So I have seen the your project there. So it's
Sir.
it is interesting to know that many students are participating this year. So it's a very good initiative. So
Sir.
we appreciate your efforts in the motivating.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. This is
Yeah,
Akash from Chhattisgarh.
yeah.
Sir, I want to know that what is the most favorable weather condition during which we found most moth?
Yeah. So the actually the moths are like butterflies. So I mean, and the like butterflies, they also need the plants for growing. So most of the moths are, I mean, the completing their life cycles on plants. So the when there are good vegetation around, okay, especially after the monsoon and all, so you can see them. There are more number of moths. Okay. Also, if you are seeing the trends, okay, how the yearly variation, seasonally variation. So generally most of the moths, okay, they are having good population after the rains, okay, so when more the vegetation around, so it is the I mean monsoon and immediately after the monsoon are the good time for watching moths. Okay, but they are available throughout the year. Okay, you'll be getting it them throughout the year, even though the numbers may be slightly less.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So any other question? Baburaj, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Haneesh.
Yeah.
Special question from your side.
Yeah. So, okay. So if
After a long
no
time
other,
meeting you.
yeah, if no other questions, then in the so thank you so much for the I mean all the people who has taken time to in the in the listen the talk. So and we have one more day left for the National Moth Week. Okay. So this year the numbers are slightly less, so you can go and watch in under your the lamps at home or the nearby place, so that I mean you can click and upload in some of the social in the citizens and platforms, so that you'll be I mean the we'll also get more data, so that will be helpful for the science to I mean I mean the come into more better conclusions. Okay, so thank you everybody. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for today's discussion. And
Thank you, sir, for a nice session.
yeah, thank you.